I'm not sure how to start this. I'm not even sure if everything happening to me is real or some screwed up, vivid part of my imagination. My life was normal until I started college. Scratch that. My life was normal until I met my college roommate Sarah. I was pretty excited to start school. I'm taking graphic design, and this is my first time away from my parents where I actually have some freedom. But I knew there was something off about my roommate the moment I met her. I'd just said a tearful goodbye to my parents, and I was off to set up my room to decorate it cute like in TV shows. Sarah was already there, a tiny, flaxen haired little bird of a girl unpacking clothes and knickknacks. I cleared my throat and she jumped, holding her hands to her chest. Sorry if I startled you, I said. I guess I'm your roommate. I'm Zoe. I offered her my hand and she stared up at me with her big blue eyes that seemed strangely empty. She took my hand so daintily I was afraid to shake too hard and break her. She was wearing this long witchy dress, and from what I could spy in her suitcase, those were the only things she owned, like she was goth without the makeup. Sarah, she answered. She smiled at me, but it wasn't a normal smile. Her teeth were bared in more of a grimace, as though she never learned how to smile and was trying to imitate it. We both returned to unpacking, and I listened to music through my headphones to keep me motivated because Sarah was so quiet. The last thing she took from her bag was a book with a bright blue cover and a well-read pages within. She held it like a jeweled crown before placing it under her pillow. That first night, I was plagued by nightmares. I was being chased by giant crows that had already ripped my friends and family to bloody, gory shreds. As autumn unwound and I started getting into the swing of it, strange things continued to happen, usually surrounding Sarah. She always carried that damn book around like it was a Bible, even though the pages looked handwritten, and she spent all her spare time on a laptop researching weird things like toolpaths and mind control. She rarely ate, and the one time I suggested ordering a pizza on a study night, she gave me an apathetic look before saying, I study better on my own. I started hating nighttime. She was always awake, her computer screen bright. I never bothered complaining, I just bought an eye mask to help me sleep. But the nightmares kept coming, and they were getting worse. Discordant railroad crossings, rooms made of human skin, crows plucking out my eyeballs and swallowing them whole. I was barely getting any sleep, and I had bags under my eyes. Meanwhile, Sarah stayed up all night and she looked like she was barely old enough to be in college. Finally, I had it. I was going to confront her about the nightmares. All my friends were starting to think that I was crazy, especially when I told them my theory that it was because of Sarah. So last night, I woke up from one of my usual nightmares, and there Sarah was, laying on her bed, but she wasn't looking at a computer screen. She was staring at me, smiling. Trouble sleeping? She asked way too cheerfully. All my earlier bravado disappeared, my body shuddered. She was just a skinny little girl, but in that moment, I was petrified of her. It was almost like she was an imposter, something sinister hiding inside a cute, blonde human body, but she definitely wasn't human. I turned to the wall and curled up in my blankets, willing myself to go to sleep. All night, she didn't move, just laying on her bed, giggling every so often. Sometimes her voice was high-pitched like a little girl, and sometimes it was low, rasping, like a lifetime smoker with a bad cold. Somehow I fell asleep, though I don't know for how long. When I woke up this morning, she was gone, presumably to class. I started looking through her stuff, but there was nothing weird, just regular stuff a girl in college would need. Then I spotted a piece of paper sticking out from under her bed. My stomach curled as I saw what was on it. There was a picture of me at the top, and then a list of my personal details, where I was born, where I went to school, the names of my parents and friends, and a neat list of everything I'd done since school had started. She was spying on me. But for what? The last words scribbled on the paper were, "She's almost ready." I'm going to sleep at a friend's dorm tonight. I just can't spend another night too afraid to fall asleep and too afraid to stay awake. What is going on? Alright guys, I hope you all have found this story as creepy as I had. This poor girl's going through this experience as I speak, so really, I hope she comes out alright at the end of it all. I personally had perhaps an even creepier experience with a past roommate, and I'll share that experience with you guys one of these days. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.